something special, some gifts in your bag that the NFL has given us this year. What you leaving under the tree?
Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, everybody. Let me get to giving these gifts out because I've been seeing some dudes really dish these Christmas presents out, and it's been phenomenal. First, we going to go to the New England Patriots. Look at that bag. Put that in a stocking. Vrabel, Drake May, and Stephon Diggs. They have renewed the spirit that comes along with being the New England Patriots. Look at Drake May push these presents down the field. And Diggs say, I will take it and put it under the tree. That's what they've been doing this year. This team is vying for a 1 seed in the AFC. Look at the gift just freely flow out there in New England Patriots land. That's a hell of a stocking stuffer right there because they are stuffing the stat sheet on offense, and Vrabel got this team rolling straight into the playoffs. They're going to be playing after Christmas, y'all. Merry Christmas, New England Patriots fans. Secondly, let's go to that doggone Trevor Lawrence and them Jacksonville Jaguars. I know it stays hot in Florida. I know that it doesn't snow and you don't have a white Christmas, but Trevor Lawrence is making sure that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to play after a white Christmas. I'm up here in New York. It's cold. It's about 35 degrees. That's what Trevor Lawrence has been. Cold as ice. He's finding all kind of people to dish presents out to. Look at him hold the gifts as he put them under the tree. I was there earlier this year for Monday Night Countdown. I didn't know what Christmas was going to look like for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but it looked like they mom and daddy got all the money to put all the gifts under the tree. Lastly, Aaron Rodgers. Now, y'all remember when y'all was young and your grandparents would get you them socks or they'll get you a pair of drawers, and every year you could count on it? I know mine did. They ain't have a lot of money. It was $5 a pair of drawers and a pair of socks. That's what Aaron Rodgers is doing. He's 42 years old, y'all. He's been playing a lot of times after Christmas. He got the Pittsburgh Steelers rolling. May be the 1 seed coming out of their division. DK Metcalf ain't there. He on the naughty list right now, but not these other players. They handling business, and Aaron Rodgers is passing out $5, socks, and drawers. And last but not least, y'all know what Christmas means for the NFL? That right there. That mystery gift that's all wrapped with that pretty golden bow. And y'all know what it is. It's going to be in San Francisco. You got to coordinate. You got to color coordinate. Y'all see what we did there? It's San Francisco colors because the game is in San Francisco. I know that it's not a mystery prize to football fans because you can make out the shape, but we going to leave it gift wrapped until it's time to give it out. Merry Christmas, everybody. You people passing out some gifts.
As touchdowns allowed. Marcus, what will you be watching in this matchup? This is a really good, interesting game.
Yeah. There is no secret to what the Houston Texans defense is, which is why I think Justin Herbert's legs is going to have to be a big part of what the Chargers have the ability to do from an offensive standpoint. And if he's real decisive in taking off, and I know the hand injury, but even when we were there in L.A. a few weeks ago, y'all, he decided to pull the ball down and run the football. We know what this pass rush is like with Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. And this team comes up and hits. So I want Justin Herbert to get down after he gets his yardage. But there will be these critical third downs that happen. There will be the times where he obviously has to use his arm, but there'll be times where Derek Stingley and Lassiter will take things away, and Justin Herbert may have to pull it down and go get some yardage with his legs. I want to see how impactful that is as the game goes throughout.
Swagu, that's a great point because every team I talk to after they play Houston, they say the same thing, that we are beat dang up. They are the most physical team in the league. Every team says that. And so that's what's fascinating about this matchup because how much is Herbert going to run knowing that Houston doesn't really feel like they have to blitz a whole lot because they have those two elite pass rushers that come off the edge. And so Herbert, if he's tempted to run, they're just going to wait for him, and then they're going to hit him 4 or 5 yards downfield with no problem. So he's had the hand injury issue. He's played beat up. We know he's tough, but how tough is he going to have to be to get through this game?
Yeah, it's funny, right? You see the Chargers and the Texans, and you immediately think, whoo, those offensive lines against those defenses. The difference, I would argue, is that the Texans' offensive line has been a little bit better this year. I'm not totally bought in, but you're seeing some improvement. They're able to actually pick up a blitz. And that's where I'm looking at this Chargers pass rush and looking at them to step up. Look, they're not the Texans pass rush. They don't have Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter. But they do have a pretty nasty four-man rush, and ever since they traded for Odafe Owe back in Week 8, they are 4th league-wide in four-man pressure rate. When Owe, Khalil Mack, and Tuli Pelotu are on the field together, they put Tuli inside, they're getting a 54% pressure rate, according to Next Gen Stats, which is very high. So, if I'm Houston, as much as that offensive line has improved, that is something that I am concerned about. I do think they need to find a way to run the ball against this team to try to keep CJ out of 3rd and long.
Yeah, the Texans have already won 10 games, for the 3rd straight season. That's a franchise record. They're also riding a 7-game win streak, so we'll see if they can continue that. We've got
AFC North with 2 games left. Coach Mike Tomlin addressed the issue earlier today.
He did explain to me why he did what he did, and I certainly don't condone the behavior, but I support DK, and I really don't have a lot to add other than what I just told you. I think he has a hearing this afternoon, an appeals hearing, and I certainly don't want to weigh in prior to that. And certainly I've heard more recently that there might be legal ramifications, and so I better be careful about what I say and how I say it. I'm sure you guys got a lot of questions. I understand that, but that's just the posture I'm in as I sit here today with so many components of this thing yet to be resolved.
Steelers reporter Brooke Pryor and Super Bowl champion Jeff Saturday joins us right now, and so much to unpack with this story. And Brooke, I'll start with you. What more can you tell us about DK Metcalf's suspension right now?
Well, Amina, like Mike Tomlin said, that hearing is this afternoon, and if it follows previous timelines of other players who have appealed suspensions, we should have some kind of determination later this evening. Now, in that appeal, DK Metcalf will have a chance to tell his side of the story, what happened, the fact that he had previously alerted Seahawks security about this particular fan, and he will also likely present some of the videos of the fan perspectives that we saw of this interaction, including one that was released earlier today on social media that showed the fan saying that was the goal after Metcalf grabbed him by the collar and shoved him back, releasing him. Now, we asked Mike Tomlin what Metcalf has been like on a day-to-day basis in the locker room, and Tomlin said that he's been great. He's been a hard worker, and he's been a good teammate, and that's why he's easy to support.
Yeah, a lot to just unpack there with that story. Let's get on the field. The Steelers are in prime position to win the AFC North after beating the Lions. According to ESPN Analytics, Pittsburgh has a 92% chance to win the division. As for the Ravens, their only chance to make the playoffs is to win the North, and those odds drop to 8%. Jeff, I want to come to you. Let's look at Metcalf's absence from an on-the-field perspective. Can Pittsburgh win the division without him?
Yeah, I think they can, but don't mistake it. He's a big part of their offensive success, and it's not just his catches or his deep field catches that he's had. It's all the part of defenses having to play him different in the physicality he plays with, whether it's run after the catch, whether it's defenses shifting and the run game opening up. All of those things are things that the Steelers are going to miss. They were the most physical team the other day against the Detroit Lions. They shut down their run game and they got physical with Warren and Gainwell. This offense from the Steelers is starting to peak. Their defense is playing much better than they had earlier on this year. So it is a problem. I think they'll reduce the suspension to 1 game. But when you look at this, I still think the Steelers walk away with this one. But you don't want to be limping in the playoffs because you're missing your number 1 receiver. So hopefully this gets resolved today.
Yeah, Jeff mentioned that defense right there. Brooke, Pittsburgh has also had their defensive star, TJ Watt, out of the mix due to a partially collapsed lung. What does the timeline look like for his return?
I mean, Mike Tomlin said today that it's his estimation that Watt has recovered from the medical procedure that repaired that partially collapsed lung, and now it's about getting in football shape. But he said that he would let TJ Watt talk to us about that. I said, well, do you anticipate that TJ Watt will speak with us maybe in the near future, perhaps this week? And he said, I do. And another reporter followed up and said, does that mean that TJ Watt will return to practice this week? And Tomlin said he does not have that information right now, but he's hopeful. Still, it kind of remains to be seen what Watt's exact timeline is, but it sounds like he could be closer to seeing the field than he was just a week ago.
Yeah, so much off the field and on the field going on with this Pittsburgh team down the stretch of the regular season. Thanks, Brooke, for the insight. And Jeff, stick around. I hear someone has a surprise for you later on in the show. We'll get to it. Thanks so much, Jeff.
Well, Amina, one of these teams would like the playoffs as a gift. There's plenty on the line when the Ravens visit the Packers Saturday night. But the big question is, who's going to play quarterback? Lamar Jackson left Baltimore's loss to New England. in the second quarter with a serious back contusion. He said he hopes to play, but his status is still uncertain. Green Bay QB Jordan Love is in the concussion protocol after getting hurt against the Bears, and backup Malik Willis injured his shoulder late in the game. Reporters from both teams, Jameson Hensley and Rob Demovsky, here to give us the very latest. Jameson, I'm going to start with you. With Baltimore's season on the brink, what can you tell us about Lamar's back injury?
Yeah, Ravens coach John Harbaugh told me that Jackson is day to day with what he described as a significant and painful back contusion. Now, Jackson's status will become clearer tomorrow when the team holds its first full practice of the week. But in the I was in the Ravens locker room on Sunday after that loss to the Patriots, and I saw Jackson struggle to sit down because of that injury. He also grimaced when he was putting on his shoes and his socks. Now, if Jackson can't play Saturday, the Ravens will turn to Tyler Huntley. And Ravens safety Kyle Hamilton told me that it's rare in this league to see a backup come in and run the offense as well as Huntley. But since 2018, Baltimore is 5-11 when it doesn't have Jackson as its starting quarterback.
Rob, I'm going to come to you next. Green Bay has 2 QBs on the mend. What does their status look like for Saturday?
It's going to take a few days before the Packers know just where Jordan Love is at with the concussion protocol. But from talking to people here inside Lambeau Field, they feel good about his path through that process. But as Packers coach Matt LaFleur said, that's a process that takes several days to get through. And this is also Love's first concussion as a pro, so there is a little bit of an unknown there. And just like the Ravens, the Packers are not actually practicing today. They're doing